Welcome to Shoot the Breeze, a series on a podcast that celebrates the messiness of life, relationships, and Christianity, featuring my wife Lacey and myself, Nathan. It's creatively titled because it will be just us shooting the breeze, sometimes with guests, while occasionally saying something important. We hope you enjoy. Do you want to tell us about our day today?
I don't really want to talk about it. No, it was kind of traumatic and...
Which I feel like we start off every podcast with today's been traumatic.
I can't remember.
So okay. First of all, hello people. Those of you watching and listening, thank you. Mm-hmm. This is Shoot the Breeze with Nathan and Lacey Steele. I am Nathan, and that over there with the...
What are you going to say?
Huh?
What are you going to say?
I was going to say gyrating jaw.
Weird. Don't say that. That just sounds weird.
That's the word that came to my mind. Because you have your mouth closed, but you're
sure.
still like shifty jaw.
You know, we already talked about this last week.
Anyways.
No one wants to hear about them anymore.
And you don't want to talk about them. This is Lacey, my wife.
Indeed.
Do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Do you want to pretend that you're thankful to be doing this podcast?
I am thankful. I just am not thankful today. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I have had a rough day. It has been rough, and I'm ready for it to be over. So that's my entire story.
Fantastic intro. Nothing
you.
like starting off with
A real positive note, I know.
I was going to say a downer.
I know.
Let's give this podcast... I was going to make a drug reference.
No, baby.
No, I know, but because we have moms who listen to this with their children, I won't. What?
Isn't that what you just did?
What? Trust me, it could have gotten worse. Listen.
You know, all I really want to do is be able to floss these teeth down here. That's like my main desire right now. Just take a little thread, just floss them.
If any of you had braces as an adult and would like to email in some support to Lacey, because she's not getting it from me, I would appreciate that. You can go ahead and click the respond button next to the podcast here.
It's been 8 days, and which works out to roughly about 3 million hours of
Pretty sure the math's wrong on that.
nonstop thinking about.
You know what's crazy?
mouth, yeah.
You know what's crazy? Mm-hmm. Is we're not even 5 minutes into this podcast.
And I'm already talking about it.
Well, I was going to say, and we have all of our listeners are gone.
I know. I started real strong, and I was clear as to...
Here's the thing. They probably started listening like right after the opening jingle, and they heard the downer of a voice that you had, and they're like, not today, Jesus.
You know what?
Or not today, Satan. What's the right term?
It would be Satan, not Jesus. I mean, you're not going to walk around going,
No.
not today, Jesus.
I need you, Jesus. That's the thing. What is
wow.
that? I saw
You need
a
to take
shirt.
some time.
I saw a
and
shirt.
get your little sayings worked out before you go on air with them.
No, I'm trying to remember.
Just
not today, Satan.
Satan, yes.
And then I thought there was a Jesus one.
It's like, I need Jesus and coffee. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about, man, I have a theme.
Good.
I did research. I even have a news article.
Can you just take it from here?
But I'm going to be asking you questions.
Oh. Okay.
Honey, you and I both know that if I took this podcast, nobody would listen because I'm boring, alone. And I get into stories that have no end.
Like this one?
You know what? You know what else doesn't have an end? Your lippy attitude.
I know, my lips, they hurt.
Get your gyrating jaw together.
Stop.
And let's do this podcast.
Well, just go.
Okay.
Say something interesting. Go ahead.
Tell me, ready? We found out some bad news today. This isn't going to get any better. We found out some bad news today.
Yeah, it kind of took a bad day that was already hard. It made it like just kind of sad. So when
Now you're talking loud.
Yeah, I get there. So before we had kids,
Yes.
we had been married a few years, like 5-ish, and Nathan decided on a whim to go and adopt this black lab husky mix. And he was he was incredibly energetic and incredibly sweet. And instead of becoming Nathan's dog, he just totally fell in love with me. And I actually had to make a rule, because this dog would follow me everywhere. He would not leave me alone. And I had to make a rule that he wasn't allowed in our bedroom, because I just needed a minute sometimes to not have a dog by my side. Like, seriously. And he would wait outside my bedroom door every morning with his little tail, like, slapping the floor, just waiting for us.
We would wake up to this, like, pounding on our door, like, and it was Togi kind of leaning up against our door with his tail.
Right.
And labs are water dogs. They have these massively muscular tails. And it was loud.
Yeah, and he was a real sweetheart. He had tons and tons and tons of energy, but he was just so sweet. And like I said, he followed me everywhere. And I just really loved this dog. And it was in a time in our life where we were walking through kind of the ramifications of infertility and exploring our options with that, and deciding, if we like, for a while we explored doing in vitro, and that didn't work out. And then we explored adoption. And at first that was a lot of closed doors, and it was a really hard time for me. And I remember, I might cry.
Yeah.
It's not very breezy, but
breezy.
I remember just looking at this dog, because like I said, he was by my side every day. And I was like, why do you love me so much? Like, I just was just like totally overwhelmed by it. And I just felt the Lord say to me, I wanted to show you how much you are loved. I wanted to give you this dog to show you really how much I love you. And Togiak meant so much to me in that time of my life, because I don't know, the Lord just met my heart there at a time where it was really tender. And anyway, we ended up I'm gonna breeze past a big part of our story, but we ended up adopting 2 kids in a year.
Yeah.
And moving to Ireland.
Yes.
All in a year. And it was a very crazy time. And we were initially looking to move to Ireland full time, but we decided we were going to do a kind of exploratory trip for 6 months. And we needed someone to take Togiak to be like a foster family for him.
Yeah.
And so one of the women in our college group that we ran, her family actually said, yeah, we'd be willing to do that. And so they took him in while we were in Ireland. And then we came back. And, I wanted my dog back. And
my dog, I want him back.
I did. I mean, I really love this dog. But at the same time, we had, at the time, how old were they? 2-year-old, 3-year-old. She'd been 3-year-old, and a
7-month.
Yeah, 7-month-old.
Yeah.
And Togiak, the dog, he was just used to having me all to himself. And so it's not like he was terrible. Like, he wasn't mean to the kids.
No.
He just would run over them to get to me. Like, he didn't have a lot of awareness.
Yeah, he was like
them.
he was like a preteen girl going through,
he just wasn't
very unaware of his body.
Right. And so he was just not very careful with the kids.
Right.
And I did worry at some points, because he was pretty possessive of me, what would happen because of all the time and attention I had to give to the kids. So at the time when we got home, the family that had Togiak, they had, I think he was 10 at the time, a 10-year-old son. And they said, hey, can we keep him? Like, we just love this dog so much, and he fits so well in our family. And we just decided that it was a really good fit for Tog, and it was a really good fit for us where we were at, even though I was just heartbroken to give up this dog. I truly was. I really loved this dog. I'm not necessarily a dog person. It's really funny. I'm not a dog person. Like, so if you have dogs and you're like, oh, Lacey's really going to love all my dogs, I'm probably not going to. But I love my dog.
Right.
That's where it's kind of a double standard.
It's kind of like kids. I love our kids. I don't like other people's kids.
You're so terrible. You shouldn't admit that.
Why?
You just kind of let it be on, like, everybody kind of knows it, but you don't say it.
things everybody knows, but you don't say it. I want to get things out in the open. No, I will not hold your baby. No, I will not play with your kids.
Wow.
But I love my kids.
Talk about bringing it down, huh?
Bringing it down? You're the one that brought it down.
I'm not a big baby holder either.
Boom.
I'm not.
There you go.
But I mean, for both of us, I think that's kind of a little bit of an emotional thing too. Like, that's not just.
It's not because we just hate kids. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
I mean, it's not just.
we're not completely hard-hearted. It's just there's a lot behind
baggage.
A lot of baggage behind why we don't like holding your children.
Babies,
Babies.
Anyway.
Yes. Continue.
So I will. So anyway, we made that arrangement, and so Togiak has lived under a new name. I mean, it was his name for most of his life, was Tebow.
Hold on. Let's go back to the beginning. What was his first name? Do you remember?
Pansy.
Yeah. Because he would eat pansies.
Who in the right mind would name a male dog Pansy? This is terrible.
So then we named him Togiak.
We named him Togiak because there was a town in Alaska, and we always named our animals after towns.
Yep, we had a firm. Well, we had a firm, like any pet that we got, we would name it after an Alaskan town.
Or something. We kind of like shifted into something Alaskan.
Yeah, because we had a moose at one point. We had not like an actual animal moose.
A dog named Moose.
We had a dog named Moose. I needed to clarify because people would be like, they're from Alaska, sounds right. Anyways, and then we had St. Augustine, we had a Katmai, we had a Kachemak.
These are cats.
Oh yeah,
we sound like we gotta stop because we have a lot of stories behind all of them, and it just sounds like we're just running through animals. But it was over a long period of time, and
I mean, some of them were only lasted a few months.
Well, Moose was only a week.
Right.
That was not our fault.
That's not our fault. Hold on, guys.
Don't judge us.
Then,
anyway, let me finish my story.
I have to. Some of our animals quickly died due to rat poison, which is sad.
That's not that I can't talk about that.
No, that's not our fault.
No, we moved into a house and someone had put rat poison on the under it and didn't tell us.
And then
I watched them die horrifically, like a cat that we'd had for 12 years. It was terrible.
It was horrible.
It was really bad. Anyway.
Sorry.
So going back to Togiak, Tebow /
Pansy.
He, I just found out on the heels of my rough day today that he died last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it's more sad for the family that had him for 10 years. But
hey, you know what? We had some good time with him.
We did. We had about 3 years with him. We took those first few lab years that are really terrible, and that's what we got.
That's right.
Labs are really great dogs, but you have to just survive the first 3 years with them,
and you have to train them. You guys, you have got to be. We have some friends right now who got 2 labs.
Not yet. They don't have them in their house yet.
Well, they will soon learn.
Hide your shoes, man.
Hide anything that could go into a dog's mouth.
It's true.
Hands, feet.
They don't
shoes.
chew on your hands and feet. You're not being kind.
I just picture.
Well, I think part of Toge's issue is that he was part husky. He was like the lab husky, so it's like energy on top of crazy energy because huskies are working dogs, and so they have to be moving almost
energy
constantly.
Squared.
Yeah.
So yeah, our dog Togiak passed away.
But he wasn't our dog. You can't say that.
I just did.
But I'm sorry that he said that. I know he wasn't our dog. He belonged to somebody else. We did give him to these people. So, but it's sad. And it's sad for them too.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's sad to us too. Good dogs affect a lot of people.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Okay. So I do. So another. So with. Do you remember like growing up? What was your first pet? Do you remember?
Yes.
What was it? Or what? Who? What is it?
It was a bird.
It was a. You had a bird?
I had a bird. How did you not know I had a bird named Fred?
No, you didn't.
I did too.
You had a bird.
Yeah, my mom forgot to feed him and he died.
But it was your bird.
I think so. He was a little canary. I'm guessing he was my mom's bird, but she probably just told him he was mine.
So, okay, bird named Fred. Do you remember other animals you had?
Maybe his name wasn't Fred. I have to fact check this with my mom.
Yeah.
I did have a bird. I did have a bird.
Still.
And he did die. I was 5.
I feel like I need to fact check the bird thing because.
No, it's true. The bird is true.
That's crazy.
And I know he died because my mom forgot to feed him because I was really mad at my mom for a very long time. But the name is where I'm a little hazy. Oh, did I ever tell you about the turtles my dad got for us?
No.
Guys, this story is a little harsh, so you might want to fast forward like the next minute or so.
Or just put ear plugs into your kids' ears.
So the other.
Hold on.
What?
If you haven't noticed, today's episode is about pets. All about pets.
I feel like they're gonna judge us hardcore after this episode, though.
Why?
Because we have a lot of not happy endings for pets.
You know, if you own a pet for any amount of time, it's not going to end well.
That's not fair.
The animal is going to die. There's no eternal pet.
Okay. Anyway,
you know what I'm saying?
Anyway, okay, so back to my story. So, like I said, this is your warning.
Animals die.
This is your warning. Whenever we're about to tell a story where the animal dies, we'll give a warning. So, this warning is that my second pet we had was a cat. We had a cat. My family had a cat named Silver, and we had him for quite a long time. And meanwhile, as we had Silver, my dad was going to work one day, and he happened to come across these turtles.
So random.
The road. Did you not hear about this one?
No.
Okay, so he came across these turtles, and I think at the time there was maybe like 5 kids in our family at that time. Eventually there would be 7, but at the time there was 5. So he picked up the turtles for us, and brought them home. And we put them in like a little kitty tub, and they were really fun. We were so excited for our pet turtles. So we went to bed that night after we had gotten them, and we got up in the morning and ran downstairs so fast to go see our turtles, and they were all in the tub, and there's blood everywhere. And
what happened?
Their heads were all eaten off. The cat...
You forgot to give a warning, honey.
The cat... I said it ended bad. The cat came... Our cat came and ate all their little heads off in the middle of the night.
Babe, that's...
It's dark, I know.
So dark.
I told them to fast forward a little while.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. This is one of the many resources we make available for free at our website, cultivaterelationships.com. Our resources have helped people grow in their relationship with God and others. We've seen people set free from uncontrollable anger and paralyzing fear. We've witnessed estranged family members be reunited after working through our freedom booklet. We've helped people build healthy relationship and coping habits through our coaching videos. And all of these resources are made available for free because of the generous support of people like you. If you would like to become a partner, please visit cultivaterelationships.com/support. Now, I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. We have another pet horror story.
Which one is this one?
So, hold on. One of our the largest animal we've ever owned.
Wait.
Is an Alaskan Malamute.
Oh, this story.
So, his name was Denali. Anyways, he was an Alaskan Malamute. 140.
No, he was not that big. He was like 120 pounds.
120 pounds. You're right. 140. Sorry, my bad.
Listen, though, I need to preface this story. At different points in our life, when I've gotten a dog, it might not have been the best choice, at the time, but it's because I really wanted another kid.
Right.
And I couldn't get another kid, so I just got a dog.
Right.
So we got this dog, and this was the dog we got after we had Togiak.
Right. It was kind of the replacement Togi.
Not really a replacement. He was, well, I mean, yeah, he was going to be our new dog.
Yeah.
We got him from this. I don't know why I was thinking about getting a Malamute, but we got him, and he was already older. Not that old, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, he was only 2. He was only 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and
still young enough, puppy training, all of that. Yeah.
But if in case you don't know about the breed, Malamutes are probably...
Hold on. Malamutes are the most stubborn breed of dog.
Is that what you've
Yes.
read? They're bad.
No. Hold on. They're not bad
They're
dogs.
bad.
They are stubborn.
That is my truth.
Malamutes are stubborn dogs. They need a ton of exercise. They're a working dog.
Which you spent a lot of time
I did.
working him
Yep.
and training him. I was just overrun by toddlers at the time.
I would...
It would literally... The dog would overrun my toddlers, actually.
Not Ari. Ari would be like, Denelli, no. And he would kind of shudder a bit.
I know. You could...
Yeah.
To give you an example, we would try to kennel him, but he'd never been kennel trained. So he destroyed 2 wire kennels.
He was the Houdini of
Yeah, he
dogs.
would always get out. I don't know how.
So I had this metal frame dog kennel that I would put him in. And then we would leave, and we would come home, and he would be sitting on the outside of his kennel. The kennel was still locked.
We still don't know how.
So what I did is the next time we left, I put him in the kennel, zip tied it all around the edges of this kennel, came home. He's sitting on the outside of this kennel, zip ties and all still intact.
You didn't zip tie the dog, just to clarify.
No,
You zip tied
the
kennel.
edges of the kennel,
I
like
just wanted to clarify.
yeah.
But you could spend an hour with him training him, and you'd say he couldn't go past a certain point,
Like you can't even
And-
let the one paw.
and he would slide his paw over it and just stare at you.
He would
He'd
slide.
slide his paw over like half an inch and just be like, "What are you gonna do?" And you'd have to be like, put his paw back and say no. And you could
Yeah.
spend an hour doing that
Yeah.
with this dog.
So Denali, here's the thing though. He was I mean, and what I mean by he was a good dog, he was a sweet dog. He
He
wasn't
ate his own poop.
that was one of his issues, which part of the time that we had him was
His own frozen poop.
it was like poop popsicles,
It's disgusting.
which perpetuated an already
It was
existent
so gross.
diarrhea problem that he
Yeah,
had.
he was not. Okay, up until that point, Nathan was known as being pretty potent in his smells, but this dog,
Oof. I identified.
oh,
I had
gosh. So anyway, it all kind of came to a point when this is so bad. So we had to get Nathan down to we were living in Alaska. We had to get Nathan down to the hospital in Minnesota because he was really sick. And he had lost all this weight.
During this time, I had lost a ton of weight. I was down to 120.
20.
I was down to 120.
Yeah,
Me and the dog were the same size.
He was all gaunt, pal. Like if I showed you pictures, you'd be just horrified that we weren't aware, right? But we were not paying attention in the way we should have. And didn't you have like pneumonia and
I had strep, I had staph,
Yes.
I didn't have pneumonia. But then I was also during this
you
time,
had some lung thing you couldn't shake. That's why we called.
staph and strep. I had both of those.
Yeah, you had and then your diabetes had went to a crazy place.
Well, it was when I officially kind of bumped over into full-blown diabetes.
We had to get him down there to Minnesota. So he went quick. And then usually when he's hospitalized, it would be around a month-ish.
Yeah.
And so he went first, and then the girls and I were going to join.
Meanwhile, we had some people in our church who had asked us to take...
Well, I don't want to get into that story.
Okay.
I don't want to get
There's
into
a lot more stress. I'll just say there's a lot more stress behind all of this. I don't want to do.
I don't want to do that. we're just going to close that part of the story.
Okay.
But so you leave, and then a
Yes.
few days later, I'm supposed to follow. Well, meanwhile, our taxes were due. We had some stuff with the taxes, and I was trying to get those in the mail, and then I was trying to get everything prepped to go, and I had to find a kennel for the dog. And so I remember like hustling to get the papers in the mail by a certain time that day, and the dog was deciding to be really stubborn and not get in the car. And so it's just like, fine, don't get in the car. And I just left.
Having him sit in the middle of the yard without any leash or anything on.
Right, and I understand this. I understand that was irresponsible. I get that. I also was at a place where I just did not have an hour to wrestle that dog.
Couldn't
mentally
care.
wrestle. Yeah.
Couldn't.
So I got to the post office. I got home. Meanwhile, I'm hauling toddlers. And I get home. The dog's still in the same place that he was when I left him because it wasn't that far of a trip. And
So you're like, okay, great.
yeah, so I'm finishing prepping, getting stuff around. Well, meanwhile, I get a call from my neighbor who's hysterical, as she should be, because she had this miniature farm next door, and she had a regular gate and then a moose gate. And
the moose gate is a higher gate so that moose don't
yeah,
jump into a yard.
Those had gotten left open, and Denali was left out, and so worlds collided, and unbeknownst to me, our dog had went into our neighbor's yard and attacked like 27. Yes, you heard me right. 27 of her animals. It killed chickens and ducks left and right. It took chunks like bites. Oh, warning. This is warning for the children.
It's a little too late, babe.
Bites out of the turkey. The turkey was running around with big hunks like bitten out of it.
So we lived up the hill from the church that we worked at, and one of the maintenance guys was walking around the sanctuary, and there was a duck in the sanctuary.
Yeah, they were running. They were like in the old time days when people would run to the churches and yell like sanctuary. Like the duck was running to the sanctuary of God, trying to get
out of this massacre.
Yes.
So the maintenance guy, he's like, "What's a duck doing here?"
Obviously.
And he's like, "Well, I mean, the farm's up above, so I'll just throw it back into the farm." Unbeknownst to him, would be throwing him back into the massacre.
The massacre taking place. This dog like cleaned up, just killing machine. To the point when we moved a year later, we were finding duck carcass.
No. So this was during the wintertime.
Yeah.
Springtime came, and in our own yard, I'm finding duck carcasses.
Yes. Oh, it was, you guys, it was terrible. It was so terrible.
It was horrible.
And meanwhile, I'm like, I gotta leave. Like, I gotta pack and leave. And so, that night,
I had called. I was in the hospital by this time. Lacey calls me. I call the owner. Thankfully, he was in town.
The owner.
The breeder. Thankfully, the breeder was in town. He picked Denali up. The story's not done.
No. So Nathan's heartbroken because because we decided we couldn't keep the dog because
he had the taste of fresh poultry in his
and we had to reassure our neighbors that we weren't going to keep him because of how destructive he was. And so meanwhile, Nathan loves this dog, and he's sent to the hospital, and he has to get rid of this dog, never able to say goodbye. So that night, though, I'm packing to get on the plane, and we're on our way to the airport, and we get a flat tire. It's like 2 a.m. I'd gotten the kids up. We get a flat tire along the side of the road. We end up calling the airport. There was like a bomb scare, and so people were running outside the airport. And so I thought, well, at least that'd buy me more time to catch my flight. No, they actually got the flight on time. So I remember I had like the kids in a double stroller, and I'm just running for my life trying to get onto this plane, and I made it. But that whole experience was probably one of the most stressful sequences I think I can remember at this point. I think I've blocked out a lot of other stressful sequences, but that was just traveling alone, getting on a plane with 2 kids under 3 is a little bit intimidating,
yeah.
but
Not when you have a massacring Malamute and a flat tire and a bomb scare.
right. Wow. Yeah.
Listen, guys, we actually don't like drama. Drama finds us.
Well, and I always feel so bad because we have these animal stories, and it's like we actually do a good job caring for our animals. We love our animals. We desire to
I like
care for our
training
animals.
I like training animals.
But we've had just this comedy of errors, it seems like, in
horrible.
different parts. And so, okay, so the next, all throughout, oh gosh, we haven't even talked about the cats. When are we getting to the cats?
I mean, now we can transition.
Okay, so.
Hold on. You should put headphones over your kids' ears because we have more horrible stories about cats.
They're not horrible. They're just kind of like.
Well, so in our marriage, our first cat was named St. Augustine. Mm-hmm. St. Augustine, we had
Was a rescue cat.
He was a rescue cat. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make this story short. Again, had to be hospitalized, so we had to drive and move down to Minnesota and bringing our cat with us, which our cat ran away in Canada because
He wants to become a socialist.
he wanted to become a socialist.
Politically, he was a little left-leaning, apparently. But no,
that Alaskan freedom was not for him.
we stopped along the road. We had him on a leash, and he just
took off. Done.
He was a big cat.
He was a big boy.
He had big old talons that would
He had talons. He didn't have claws.
No.
He had talons. Okay.
But I was so mad. We paid all that money to
I know.
bring him down.
Then we got Sika.
We had Sika, and Sika was our favorite. We had him for about 12 years.
Sika was a fantastic
He
cat.
was a great cat, and we moved with him a few times, quite a few times, actually.
Yeah.
And when we moved, I think we had him about 10 years.
Yeah.
And we ended up moving to a new place. It was about 5 hours away from where we had been living. And when we got there, I was kind of nervous about if he was gonna be okay because we were in the upstairs of an apartment, and sure enough, he disappeared.
It was like within the first month of moving there,
Right.
he ran off. He was done.
And the girls were really upset, especially Lydia, because she was 5, and I was upset. Nathan was upset. And, it had been a month and we were working up to about 2 months. Hold on.
Well, I was going to say, no, we'd gotten the cat. You and I had gotten the cat before the girls. This cat has been with us. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
We'd had him a lot.
5 years. 5 years before.
We had the kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, he was gone for months. And Lydia just kept telling me he was going to come home. And I was just like,
me and Lace would look at each other like, oh, God.
Finally, I flat out said to her, I said, Lydia, Sitka is not coming home. He is either dead somewhere or he is completely lost. He is never coming home. Because I wanted to just crush her hope, totally crush it, because I was sad that she was holding on to this hope. Well, I kid you not, a week later, just a few, probably just a few days later, it's about 11 o'clock at night in our second-story apartment.
Second-story building, and here's what we start hearing. Meow, meow, meow.
Crazy meowing.
Meow.
And we had not even lived there very long when he disappeared. I don't know what happened. To me, in my mind, in my imagination, there's you remember that movie, The Incredible Journey?
Yeah.
I don't know if he went back to Wasilla to see if the home was and came. I don't know.
I know, they're not here. Yeah.
But what I personally think something happened. So I think someone took him and he made his way back.
Yep.
But he made his way back. He came home.
And me and Lace were like, that's not Sika. No way. And didn't Lydia? I thought it was Lydia who was like, that's Sika.
I don't know, but it was pretty
amazing.
Sika. It was Sika, yeah.
It was.
We had him for another year, and he was killed by rat poison, which is terrible.
Which was a horrifying death.
Terrible.
Then we got another cat.
I watched. Yeah, it was terrible,
and the cat.
There was no reason for it.
No, and we got another cat. Had him a year. Rat poison.
Well, okay, and this sounds irresponsible, but what happened was...
All of this time... Hold on.
we didn't have him a year. We only had that cat a few months.
Well, I was going to say, all this time, we didn't know. At the time, we didn't know it was rat poison.
We didn't know why Sika had died. We thought it was some kind of heart thing. And then when the second one died, we were able to figure out what had happened.
Because he died exactly the same way.
Yeah, and it was terrible. It was terrible.
We won't tell you how, but you can Google.
No, don't Google that. That's weird. No.
Yeah, don't Google it. No, it's gross. Yeah, don't do it.
Nathan.
What?
No.
I know there's curious people out there like me going, what happened? I would want to know what happened.
That's what happened.
I mean, horrifically.
Gosh.
Okay, anyways. Next, then we got a dog. Sunny girl.
Gosh, these stories. I mean, if people don't like us, they're really not going to like us after these stories.
Nothing is our fault. Like, we're not
this
beating
one's your
animals. I stand corrected.
This one's your fault.
Okay, this is sick, though. Because, like, I feel horrible.
So we get finally, like I said, whenever I really want another baby, I get another puppy. And I really, really wanted we didn't have a dog or a cat at the time. And I had been a few years since Denali, like 3 or 4 years. And so I went to the shelter and we got this puppy who we were just visiting the shelter. The girls used to like to just visit the shelter for kicks.
We would, yeah.
And so there was this one puppy I just could not stop thinking about. So I went back and got this puppy, and her name was Sunshine, and she was my sunny girl, and I loved her, and she loved me, and we were going to be happy forever. And then Nathan hit her with a car, and it was terrible.
That is not accurate.
That's exactly what happened.
No, it's not. I slowly ran over her.
Stop it. That's not.
On accident.
Nathaniel.
No,
that doesn't make it sound better.
It doesn't. I want you to know the trauma that I have running over a dog slowly.
Oh, stop.
It's not. No, I'm being serious. Like, it's not enjoyable for me.
I never said you enjoyed hitting my dog. I just said you did it.
Horrible. So.
We forgot to give a warning.
Oh.
You know what? Send your kids to do something.
There's more. So,
anyway, we had to put her down, and it was really sad and terrible. And I still don't like talking about Sunny because
Sunny was sad.
And she really liked me, and I liked. I'm not gonna lie, I love it when a dog really attaches to me.
You didn't at first with Togi though. You had real issues with Togi attaching to you.
But I liked it eventually.
Yeah, after the fact. And then we got Moose. Well,
so we were going to be, you're not threading this needle. We ended up going on this trip. I'm not going to go into the trip, but we'll just say it was we kind of talked about it in another podcast. In the beginning of the trip, Ari got bit by a dog.
Yep.
Not our dog, a different dog at a friend's house.
Yep.
And it gave her a scar on her face. It was a big deal. It was terrible.
Yep.
And so we got home after all this, and we ended up being offered to be like, there was these breeders that had these golden doodles.
Yep.
And they had a 2-year-old dog that they were looking for someone to be the family, and so they would just borrow it.
Yeah, be the caregiver.
Right, and they would just borrow it for breeding purposes and then send him home. And so we were going to be this dog's family. I was really excited, and he was a really sweet dog. His name was Moose, and he was with us for a week.
Super sweet dog.
And he was sweet, really, and he liked me.
Yeah, he attached to you.
It was really funny. I was painting a room, and there was like a moose outline, like a dog outline where I was painting because he wouldn't move. He just lay by me. But he ended up...
Which he was older.
He was 2. But he hadn't been around kids.
Yeah.
And he didn't adjust very well. And so he actually...
nipped
Ari's other cheek.
Yeah,
which
but
really scared me. It didn't
puncture the
surgery
skin
like the other one
Yeah,
did.
it didn't puncture the skin, but we realized, okay...
It was really aggressive. He wasn't he just wasn't settling well. He wanted to be back home.
Yeah.
And so we sent him back home, and they ended up keeping him there. And it was it was hard. I mean, I felt bad for this dog. It's just we were trying to see if it was going to work, and it just didn't work.
Yep.
And he needed to be back with where he felt comfortable.
Yep.
And
it worked out like we have a great relationship with the breeders. Like nothing.
Right, and they were so sweet.
Yep, they were super sweet.
Sent us a puppy. So that is a dog we currently have.
Lulu.
Lulu.
Yep.
And she's actually named Lupin, like the Alaskan flower, but
It's Lupin Aurora Borealis Steel.
correct. Yes, but she would never answer to that. She just answers to Lulu.
Right, no, never.
Or Lou, really. We've just shortened
Lou.
it. But and she's the best. She's
Fun fact.
Yeah.
And I believe I'm accurate here. Lupin, the Alaskan flower, is the same as the Texan bluebonnet flower.
Yeah, it is.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But the thing about Lou that is kind of infuriating to me is that Nathan runs over my dog, and then we end up with Lou, who's a great dog, but you know who she loves?
You can't juxtapose
loves
those stories.
Nathan.
You
She can't get enough of Nathan. She literally wakes him up. She puts her little nose by his head, and she like puts her little paw on his arm, and just cannot get enough. She comes to work with Nathan, and she lives. She gets so worried whenever he gets up in the morning, like that he's gonna leave without her.
Honestly, it's like having a personal stalker.
You love it.
You
love it.
I don't hate it, but it does get so annoying. If you just sometimes I just want to sit on the floor, no one touching me, nothing happening, but I can't because...
You have an 80-pound dog on you?
Yes. Who will still try to lay in our lap.
You know what, though? I'm always like, Lou, love me. And she'll come love me for a minute, but then you walk in the door and she's like, gotta go.
I got better things to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all of our animals.
I think so. Except for my fish. This is the best story.
Oh, guys. Okay, yes. We have to end on a good note. This is the good note.
So it's not going to feel like it's going good, but don't worry.
Hey,
you can call your kids back in.
Call your kids back in and have them listen to the story to redeem all of the other stories because listen, it sounds like it's going to go horribly wrong, but please stay tuned.
Okay. This was actually our very first pet.
As a married couple.
I had this pet before we got married.
Yep.
I had a fish.
Fred the fish.
And I kept Fred. I had him a while, and then we got married, and Fred was doing well. Fred was healthy.
He was a big old goldfish.
He was, and I enjoyed Fred. And one day, I was warm. It was winter, and my house was super warm, and I decided to open a window. Well, I forgot that Fred's tank, he was in the little...
Yeah, lived on the windowsill.
Yeah, he did. And so I accidentally froze it solid, like a block of ice.
Not just a little bit of ice floating on top.
No, like an entire tank.
A glass tank solid.
Right, and if you're imagining a big fish tank, don't. It was a small little tank.
Yep.
But still, it was a frozen block of ice, and in the middle of the block of ice was Fred. And I had gotten distracted, and I didn't realize I was slowly freezing my fish. And so then I was kind of like freaking out. I was like horrified. Poor Fred. What have I done? So I pulled him off the windowsill, and I just kind of let him thaw in the middle of the room. And I always heard a rumor that you could freeze goldfish. And you know what? You can. You can freeze goldfish. You know what?
Fred was solid. We had him 4 years. Not like the number 4 for like
a few years,
but like several years. And what ended up, here's the sad
Don't tell him how he died. I was just going to end it how he like came back and he was happy and he was flipping around and
no, I need to
freeze
here's
him.
The thing.
You can't tell how I actually killed him. That's not a good idea. No.
He died because Lacey put him in a mayonnaise jar.
I did. I didn't wash it good enough. We
found out later. We thought we did.
I feel like I didn't wash it good enough, and I feel like I didn't put enough or any air holes in it. Yeah. I think I was worried about it spilling on the drive, and so I just...
Yeah, because we did that.
I was thinking fish need water. I wasn't thinking they need air. I don't know.
This kind of makes me want to get another goldfish, though.
Well...
I kind of want another one. It was like
I
good.
feel like we're ready for it. I mean, after the story, people are going to be like, please ban these people.
We've been able to we've managed to keep 2 kids alive.
Well, we didn't even tell about the kitten that we brought back.
What kitten?
Okay.
Wait, what?
We are going to end with the... This was...
Oh, no, hold on. I think we have 2 stories.
They want to go home. I mean, they want to be done with us by now. What kitten are you talking about?
We have like 15 minutes left. We can tell them more stories.
Gosh.
Huh?
This whole podcast is just about us and animals.
Yeah. What kitten? I was thinking of the one that we babysat for a friend of ours.
Oh, that was a terrible one. We don't even talk about that. That wasn't even our cat.
Okay.
This was when we were getting our first cat before we got
I
St.
feel like they're like,
Augustine.
wait, what's the story now?
No. Before we got St. Augustine, we went to the shelter to get a kitten, and the shelter was really specific that we were broke. We were broke.
Yes.
And we probably should have been getting an animal, but we did. And they were making us pay like an adoption fee.
Yeah.
Which I didn't have a problem with. But then they were making us prepay for the neutering. And I said to the lady, I said, well, why would I prepay for it? I don't know what's going to happen with this cat. And
She was
like,
not
you
impressed.
need to be careful. You need to be a good pet owner, blah, 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 blah. And so we took the kitten, but I was like, this kitten's not looking too hot. Like, this kitten looks sick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're like,
Did not look healthy.
right. And
Let's just say we didn't figure we would have him long enough to be neutered.
That's not true. I like this kitten. He just didn't look super great. And so we were going to try to bring him back. Well, he ended up dying. So we took him back.
That's what I was saying.
It's terrible. It sounds so bad saying it. We were really young, you guys. Don't judge us too bad.
Yeah, we were at least like in our mid to late 20s.
We were not in our late 20s. We were like 23.
Mid.
23. You were 22. That's not mid.
Okay, ready?
It's like
Guys,
young.
people, folks, individuals listening to this podcast. We're going to end on an upper. Well,
Gosh.
actually, that's not true either. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, ready, babe?
I feel like we're going to get canceled because of this podcast.
Yeah, I don't care. Okay, do you have, what do you think, like, if you could pick an animal, what's the most ridiculous pet someone could have as a, animal that could someone have as a pet? What would you say?
Ridiculous?
Yeah, like, what? As a pet?
Rat.
I have 5. I researched this, and here are the 5 that I personally viewed as the
Most ridiculous?
most ridiculous. Number 1, no order, scorpion.
I was thinking scorpion too.
That is ridiculous.
nasty,
They're
yeah.
horrible.
Okay.
And technically, a lot of households in Texas have scorpions as pets. Well,
they
let
just
me.
live in the
They
house.
just live there. Yeah. With a scorpion, so this is not a separate number, but with a scorpion, hissing cockroaches.
Ew.
Yep. Another one, crocodile.
I mean, that's just your backyard if you live in like Florida, right?
Right. So a lot of households have crocodiles, I guess is what. Number 3, lion.
Okay.
A tiger.
Yeah.
Siegfried and Roy. Ready for this one? Mm-hmm. A brown bear. As a pet.
Okay.
You know how, I guess if you raised it as a cub, it would go well for you? Maybe? Because you could train brown bear for like movies and stuff.
Did I tell you that store I was in recently, and we were looking at this like little habitat thing. We're like, oh, that's really cool. The container was really cool. Lydia and I were.
Yeah.
And the owner says, oh yeah, there's a tarantula in there somewhere
Wait, no.
in the habitat.
Nope.
And I was like, oh, and they're like, unless it escaped.
No.
I haven't seen it in a while. Because it could be in the store. And I was like, oh. And
Bye.
then
I'll see you later.
they were like, it doesn't really matter because we pulled it from the store in the beginning. Because they do. They run around here. Like, we've had them, like...
Nope.
But
Nope, nope,
I
nope,
just
nope.
thought that was so funny.
Nope. Who's the guy that got eaten by a bear? Him and his girlfriend?
Treadwell?
Timothy Treadwell. That's right. Yep. Bears,
Beats.
Battlestar Galactica. No, bears. Yeah, bears. I've heard like within a couple generations. Oh, Lacey, what have I always wanted as a pet?
A cheetah?
Yes, because they can be domesticated within 2 generations.
Go on.
Go on, get. That's a throwback to Cheetah.
The movie that really impacted Nathan, apparently.
Oh my goodness, guys.
He's sitting there, tears streaming down his face.
Yeah. I was like, why did they have to get rid of it, though?
And they like throw the little rocks.
I know.
Get out of here, Cheetah.
That reminds me of a moose I had to throw rocks at.
Stop.
Okay, ready?
No, don't do that one. Mm-mm.
What? No. I wasn't going to tell that story. Speaking of most ridiculous animals that people have owned as pets, I have a news article. Ready? I'll just, if you want to know more, let me know. But I'll just read the title.
Okay.
Snake strangles 2 children in New Brunswick, Canada.
That's terrible.
It happened in 2013.
That's terrible. It doesn't matter that it happened that long ago. That's still terrible. Why'd you read that?
Because I was researching strange pets.
Yeah,
There was a woman in Indonesia who got eaten by a 26-foot boa constrictor.
Oh.
They saved her. They cut the belly open and saved her.
Would you want to live after that?
I mean, if you're still alive.
You would be so traumatized.
Well, yeah.
How?
That recently happened.
Can you even imagine that?
26
What was she breathing?
Foot. But well, I mean, they rescued her. Like literally, her clothes had already been like started to be digested.
What was what were we holding? What was that big snake we were holding when we were in Peru? What kind was that? Was that a boa?
Boa.
Yeah, he was big.
In a statement, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said that they believe the reptile had strangled 2 boys aged 5 and 7.
Why are you? No. Stop.
Hold on.
No.
The boys were staying overnight at a friend's apartment. Folks, you better know where your kids.
Why are you? This is not a funny story to read. This is not a fun like.
It's. Anyways, don't.
What is wrong with you? Why would you read
snakes,
that story?
No poisonous animals. No bears.
Nathaniel.
Don't.
You can't just end with that story.
Okay, we can end on a.
I have a better story.
Okay.
So in Alaska recently, you probably already heard this, but a woman sat down at an outhouse, which outhouses are like a dime a dozen in Alaska. Like that's like if you're stopping along the road, you're going to have a public, like an outhouse. Like it's very common.
Right.
She sat down and a bear bit her on the bum.
No, there was a bear in the outhouse?
It was in the outhouse and it it bit her bum.
No.
How traumatizing, right?
No, how did the bear get in there?
I don't know why all these questions deserve answers, but I don't have them. All I know is that whenever I use an outhouse, I always check.
Here's the thing. If you bring up news articles, you better be prepared to answer, because I can answer all of your questions.
No, that's a terrible story, though. We'll pretend like you never read that one.
How did the bear get into the outhouse?
I guess he climbed in there.
You don't climb in.
I guess he did.
Outhouses are dug in.
I guess he got in there. But he did. It's a fact. Fact.
You know what? I feel like we need to end this on a happy note. So recently, I was listening to a podcast, and they were making fun of the fact that unicorns are in the Bible. Specifically the King James Bible. Unicorns.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, what they didn't say is that in obviously early English, unicorn was a type of deer, a type of...
I have a question.
What?
Is this your idea of a fun note?
Yeah.
Guys, I want you to... just want you to realize that this is Nathan's idea of fun. Okay, continue.
No, unicorns.
Continue.
Anyways, it was named a unicorn because when you stood looking at its profile, it looked like a horn was coming out of its forehead. That's why King James translated this particular creature as a unicorn rather than a deer. Now...
I feel like I'm in the carnival. That was so much fun.
Now,
Thank you for that tidbit.
Hey, you know what?
Here.
I thought it was a fun fact.
Extrapolate some information.
Get all your facts and
Your
figures.
facts and figures out of the idea machine.
Do you have any other fun facts about animals, Lacey?
I feel like we're just beating a dead horse. We just need to end this podcast.
Why do you always have to bring our conversations around to dead animals? That's on you. You did that.
Oh my gosh. Anybody we had listening to this is never going to listen again.
They stopped within the first 2 minutes.
This is a terrible episode.
Because you talked about your gyrating jaw for the first few minutes. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Still hurts. Still hurts.
Okay. Goodbye.